So I'm Mason McCarty, and today I'll be explaining the results in 3 parts of the Experiment 3 lab for Chem120N lab section 4. So as you can see, I have part C, D, and E with the equilibrium equations written as followed. The products are on top with the equilibrium arrows in the middle, and the reactants are on the bottom. So in part C, the aqueous solution, which was BiCl3, which is a solid, plus 2 milliliters of H2O, is a cloudy, clear liquid. Then 2 stress factors were added. When HCl was added, the cloudy, clear liquid remained clear. It was no longer cloudy, and then crystals formed in the bottom of the solution. Now when HCl and 25 milliliters of H2O were added, it changed then into just a milky white liquid. Both of these stress factors were added individually to the aqueous solution. Now in part D, our aqueous solution was a red, clear liquid. The aqueous solution consisted of cobalt chloride and then had 3 stress factors added to it. The first one being HCl. When HCl was added, it changed from a red liquid to a lightish blue liquid. Now when HCl and heat were added, that red liquid turned into a more vibrant blue liquid. It almost had more of a deeper blue tint to it rather than more of a dull blue. Now, when the solution had HCl and was then cooled, it was a violet, gray, and very dull liquid. Now moving on to part E. So part E, our reference solution was FeNO3 plus KSCN, and it was a dark red liquid. Now when the first stress factor was added, which was heat, that dark red liquid turned into a lighter red liquid. Not by much, but it was lighter. In the second stress factor, when more FeNO3 was added, the dark red liquid turned into an even darker red liquid, almost impossible to see through. In this third stress factor, more KSCN was added. The liquid then turned to an even darker red, almost brown liquid. It was not see-through. In the last stress factor, KSCN and AgNO3 were added, and that turned into a cloudy, milky white liquid that was not see-through. Now, one thing to note is all of these stress factors, based on how I have them written on the board, could be taken into, you could think they were added together. So HCl was first added to the aqueous solution, and then more HCl and water was added to the aqueous solution in part C. That is not the case. All of these stress factors were added completely and totally individually to the aqueous solution. So, for example, in part C, my observations for the first stress factor was the aqueous solution plus HCl. And then my observations for stress factor 2 was the aqueous solution plus HCl plus 25 milliliters of H2O.